Hi, this is Swati Ramya, Assistant Professor, AIDS Department. You are here with me in Operating System and Virtualization videos. I have been handling the Operating System and Virtualization paper for the second year computer science students. In the previous video, we were discussing about what is computer system and what are the basic components, what is computer system and what are the basic components in the computer system, and a small block diagram which helps to understand what is computer system. These all things we were discussing in the previous video. In this video, we are going to discuss about the functional view of computer system and also the operating system overview. So let's look into the what already we have been discussing the how the computer system will works. I'll be get into the quick thing about the computer system. So you could see the block diagram. The operating system has been working as an intermediate between the hardware and the user. Whenever the user requests for some task to be completed, the user cannot able to access the hardware directly. Instead of that, the operating system will act as a mediator which helps us to use the hardware in a proper way and reduce the errors, hardware errors also. So you can understand what actually the operating system doing in between the hardware and the user. Okay, let's get into the functional view of the computer system. A computer system performs four main functions that requires intelligent control which is provided by the operating system. First thing, it has to get the input, that is data entry through the devices. It has to get the input through some means, okay, and these input data will be processed. To process any data, the data can be anything, text or video, audio, anything else. So these data has to be processed in some way. Okay, how you will process the data? So you need a set of instruction that to be executed with the help of your processor, that is CPU. So you need a CPU to execute the set of instruction. Only when you execute the set of instruction, the data, whatever the data given by the user, that is input given by the user, will be get processed. To process the data which is given by the user has to be processed with the help of executing the set of instruction which is done by the CPU. So once you have done your processing, the data will be stored in some places. So you need the storage. Data will be stored for a temporary purpose or for permanent reason in some places of memory. So you need the storage also. Secondly, once the process has been done, data has been stored for some reasons, and you have to produce the output, to display the output or some task to be done, whatever the task has been asked by the input. For example, we ask them to display something. So once the processing has been done, the data will be displayed to the user, that will be the output. These are all the main functions of computer system. So now let's get into the operating system. Okay, operating system overview. Now let's move on the concept of operating system, which is the most important system software in the computer system. The operating system acts as a backbone of the system because it controls how all the hardware and the software component works together. Okay, because it acts as an intermediate and helps the hardware and software to communicate with each other, and it helps them to complete the task. So the operating system is responsible for managing the hardware resources and the software. Okay, that is, it manages the hardware resources like CPU, memory, storage device, and input-output devices. All those things will be come under the hardware resources. These hardwares will be managed by operating system. It also provides the essential service that allows the application program to run smoothly. Without an operating system, a computer would not able to perform multitasking at all. And it could not. Without an operating system, the user has to access the hardware directly, which is a very crucial thing. When the user has to access the hardware directly, first of all, the user has to know the machine language. First thing, it is very complicated, and they have to know have to access the hardware. It is very critical thing. So this operating system will helps as an intermediate to communicate between the user and the hardware. So without the hardware, a computer would not able to perform multitasking, and it could be feeling very difficult to manage the memory as well as CPU time efficient way. Okay. One important feature of the operating system is to run continuously in the background. So whenever you switch on the system, even you're not doing any operation in the system, the operating any operations, it is still in the ideal thing. So the system is in ideal stage, but the operating system will be running on the background. Even when the user is not actively performing any task, the background will have the operating system to be run. Okay. So it monitors the system activity, it manages the running program and ensures the system remains stable and responsive. So only when the operating system is running on the background, so when you click or when you touch on some mouse pad or when you touch on the keyboard, it responds immediately. For that immediate response, the operating system is need to be active all the time whenever the system is on. This is how it works. Let me explain it with a simple example, okay, so that you can understand in a better way. When you open a browser, play music and download a file at the same time, you are opening your browser, playing the music in the YouTube and download the file at the same time, all these tasks run smoothly without getting interfere with each other, without getting crashing this system, right? This is because you have an operating system. Operating system will run this task will run the task smoothly. It will never ever make these tasks to be interfered with each other. Okay. So for example, let me tell you, all these operations, to open the browser, you need some memory. To play the music, you need some temporary memory. So if for everything, you need some memory. Okay. Memory and CPU time. It will give you separate memory and CPU time for every process. It will take as a process 1 to open the browser, process 2 to download the file. So process 1 will have the separate CPU time, memory and some other device things. And the process 2 will have separate CPU time, separate memory. So each process will not get interfered with each other, and it will run you can able to do the multitasking without any issues. Because the operating decides how much CPU time and how much each application needs. And even though the multi-programs are running simultaneously, the operating system ensures that they do not interfere with one another, providing the smooth operation of all the operation to be done eventually. Okay. This is how the operating system works. So you could see what all the things the operating system are doing, what all the things the operating system could manage it. Okay. You can see the example for operating system. It will be Windows, which is more user friendly and commonly used operating system. Linux, which is, it will be very secured one. And Mac OS, that is also very commonly used one. Android, that is used in the mobile operating system. Okay. These all the